So where is it? Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known and top of the morning to Power 96. What are you, Irish today? Is the FBI behind the latest Patriot Front march? Well, that's the scuttlebutt that has not yet been denied officially. And Karen behavior is being called out this time in New York City. The latest incident involved a white woman who was caught on camera attempting to hijack a rentable Citi Bike from a young Black man in New York. We'll discuss just how dangerous that is. Chicago has a new mayor, and the New Yorker has called him the city's unlikely mayor, and we're going to discuss that as well. Also, Symone Sanders sounded the alarm about a raft of upcoming decisions that she says could let the conservative-dominated Supreme Court make Black history illegal and allow businesses to discriminate. And let's have some fun this morning with the best, worst, most feared. Wish he was my dad. Glad he ain't my dad. Black TV dads. Who is on the list? Well, we will discuss that later. But first, we bring on the man himself, the one and only Barrington Salmon, to discuss these topics this morning. Hey, Barrington.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing absolutely joyful.
It's a beautiful morning down here, so I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you still follow the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, or did you ever follow it?
Oh, of course.
Wait, calm down.
Which young man did you know that didn't? Yeah, we did. I did. And I mean, we waited with bated breath.
Yeah, it was about this time every year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Heading towards the summer.
So the latest issue, are you waiting with bated breath, or are you waiting to vomit?
No, it's not that. I'm not waiting to vomit. I'm just, it's kind of amusing. Is the cover centerfold this year. I think she's 80 years old. I mean, she doesn't look bad. She doesn't look like she's falling apart and stuff. So, and I mean, she
Snoop Dogg must be proud.
I'm sure. We need to check. Snoop might have been the one taking the pictures.
Well,
that's how they roll.
That's how they roll. Yeah. They roll like that. They roll their joints like that. I mean,
yeah. So it may be. I need to go check to see if Snoop took the pictures. but you know, on a more serious note, this is a good thing because we live in a society that only values the young, and once you get
when it comes to stuff like that,
when it comes to a whole lot of things, really, once you get to a certain age, like in most cases, you Sports Illustrated would not have a regular woman, 80 years old, as a centerfold, regardless of how good she looks, because this society is centered on the young and
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing. So this is, this is a victory for all heads and that
Right.
type of thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. And so chances are you won't have someone like idolizing her body or anything like that because
no, I didn't say all that. You got a whole lot of freaky people out here. They might be getting hot and bothered looking at her. Looking at her.
No, but it does show that, look, whether you're 18 or 81, you too can be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit.
Yeah, yeah.
That's here's another thing that I found interesting the last few days. Everyone talked about that whole Trump CNN debacle, town hall, or whatever you want to call it. And CNN really banked on this catapulting them. Well, the ratings are out, and I have them right here.
Yeah. Sorry, CNN.
Since then, CNN has dropped below even Newsmax, the right-wing channel. They are fourth. They averaged about 335,000 viewers since that. Whereas, just to give you an idea of how bad that is, Fox is at 1.44 million, and MSNBC is just about 1.1 million.
Yeah.
It backfired big time on CNN.
It did. Chris Licht, the dude that's running the whole show at CNN, he and some other dude that I guess the company that runs CNN, they've been on since the debacle, talking about how great it was, how necessary it was. But at the end of the day, all it really was is because they claim that they're moving away from the left, so-called left progressive perspective, which they never really were,
right,
to more center right. So, but actually, we have enough right wing and center right wing, center right commentary on television. We do need real left wing, real progressive, because most of what passes for left wing and progressive really isn't. But we need to have that,
Well,
and they're always the ones that are quick to tell us that we need to hear both sides.
Well, here, first let me indulge Power 96. He says, just wait until Charles Barkley and Gayle King are on CNN. That will be a dumpster fire. A lot, and it's so funny. He says that we may laugh at that, but that's the opinion of many, including many in the industry, that that's going to be just that, a complete dumpster fire. But whatever happened to just being a journalist, just being an anchor, just delivering the news and not having a side, not leaning left or not leaning right.
That died a long time ago.
But I think. But do you think people want that to come back, or are they happy with the way it is now?
I don't know. I hear people saying that they wish that news outlets would just report the news and not necessarily lean one way or the other. But I don't know if that's possible in this current political environment. I
wrote an article about Vice President Kamala Harris. I mentioned it yesterday, but what happened yesterday was really interesting. So I made an error, and those things we hate making an error.
Yeah.
And it was a complete oversight. I put that she was when she was DA, she was appointed DA. She was not appointed DA. She was elected DA. And so this article, the Informer published this article, and it went viral, right? But people were saying that you're wrong. She was elected. So I tweeted in that chat, you guys are absolutely right. We are correcting this immediately.
Yeah.
The response was even more viral. And the comments were, it's so refreshing for a journalist to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And I got that from white folks, black folks, other folks.
Yeah.
And it's a whole list. Anthony Tillman was pointing it out. It's like, wow, that my response, just taking responsibility, made that page go even more viral.
Yeah.
people want journalists to do their job and do it the correct way.
Yeah. And it's gonna be really hard for journalists, high and low, because to find their footing in it, because highly partisan, the move towards fascism, the squashing of dissent, all of these things are affecting how we do our jobs. And so yeah, I think you're 100% correct that if we lean on the tenets of real journalism, I don't think we can go wrong.
Yeah, I listen. And maybe I'm naive on this part, but I even believe that had the media just been that, just the media, just covering things when Trump was in office, I don't think things would have been as bad. I don't think people would have come out saying it was as bad.
But
The media created Trump. They got him in office. The mainstream media.
Yeah. Anytime that you talk about the Trump era, you can't talk about it and try to think of it in normal journalistic terms. He's a demagogue. He's a racist. He is a con man. He's a master in terms of how he uses the media. And you can't divorce him from the fuel that he's thrown on the whole race issue.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know that you could ever have covered him normally.
Perhaps in the beginning. Perhaps when he was running.
Yeah.
When he was running, not even in the beginning of the presidency. When he was running, I think had he been fairly covered, there's a good chance that he would not have won.
No, I don't think so, because the whole apprentice thing gave him a platform that made him look like a Superman, super businessman, don't lose no money, blah, 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 blah. And America is celebrity driven.
Very much so.
And it's really interesting, because when he decided that he was going to run, people in New York was like, run, no, don't vote for this dude. And it reminded me of black people always being the canary in the coal mine, telling people what really is going on, and they ignore it. So America ignored this to its peril.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we will see if the media has learned.
Well, listen,
they just did that again.
CNN just gave him 70 minutes of free advertising.
Yeah, because CNN made it. I think I read that CNN made between $2 and $3 billion prior to and during 2016. So it was all about the money. They didn't care about what he was saying or how he was saying it or who was affecting.
Yeah.
And now this is what we're dealing with.
Well, here's what we also dealing with. Online conspiracy theorists have claimed that federal agents were behind a march at the over the weekend of a white nationalist organization in Washington, arguing that the rally had been met without resistance from law enforcement. At least 150 members of the far-right Patriot Front carried shields and battle drums as they marched along the National Mall in Washington, D.C. In video footage, the group can be seen being escorted by police officers to separate members from a counter protest. The claims throw doubts on the intention and origins of the march, which has been condemned by many. It came as hate watchdogs have warned of an alarming rise in far-right activity. On the Reddit forum for conspiracy theories, one user said those taking part in the march, quote, look suspiciously like feds and all a little too uniform to me to be authentic. Barrington, the FBI has not denied any of this. There's been several comments like the one we just read. Is there somewhat of a chance? I mean, when you look at the insurrection on January 6th, there were military people involved in that. There were police officers involved in that. Is there do you believe that the FBI could be complicit in this Patriot Front?
I doubt it, but that's not to say what you're saying, that we have a really big problem because so much of these groups, these militias, these white nationalist groups are infiltrated, well, not infiltrated. They have in their ranks law enforcement. If you look at, if you remember, there was a lot of consternation from some people about folks in the FBI who overtly expressed their support for Trump during the January 6th committee hearings and that type of thing. It's a part of, they are a part of all of this, and that is a problem that I think that we have as Black people, because remember, they said at the turn of the last century, judges, politicians, sheriffs, and police, other types of law enforcement were proud members of the Ku Klux Klan. That hasn't changed. I don't expect the FBI to say yes or no to being involved in this. I doubt it, and because these are a bunch of weak-kneed sissies basically, run around trying to act like they're tough, and I mean, if they're as tough as they are, don't wear a mask. Right. Don't wear a mask. But they realize that all them idiots on January 6th who didn't wear a mask ended up in jail. So this is just a physical manifestation of the white backlash.
Yeah, Power 96 says the Patriot Front is a modified Klan organization wearing Walmart khakis.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're right. They cover their faces. The Klan covered their faces. If you believe in what you believe in, and if you're so so brave, you have so much courage, why are you hiding?
Yeah.
And we can go on and on, but I want to go also along those lines to Karen. Karen's behavior is being called out again. The latest incident involved a white woman who was caught on camera attempting to hijack a rentable Citi Bike from a young Black man in New York. The woman appeared to be an employee of New York City Health and Hospitals based on...
Please help me! Help! Please get off me!
What the f*** Yo, don't let him take it, bro. Now you're not getting the bike, bro. Hey, now you're not getting the bike.
Help!
You're not getting the bike. I'm not.
Why you took his phone? What's wrong with you?
You're not touching his phone. You're not touching his phone. I'm not touching you. You putting your stomach on my hand.
No, dude, stop. No, dude, stop. No. I said no. I said sit down.
Please help.
She just said my bike. She's just crying.
You're not crying. I got
stupid.
I got your video.
I'm drunk.
Wait, you put it out? Hassan, you put it out? Hassan, you put it out?
This is my bike. It's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna throw it out on your account.
You're an actor. That's just my fake crying.
Guys,
it's fake crying. Stop fake crying.
Hey, stop touching me. I don't touch you.
Hold up.
Hey, stop touching me. Stop touching me.
Why don't you take this bike?
Stop touching me.
You're not touching. I will.
Exactly. So take it. So take it.
Buddy, you're stupid ass. Stop out of here. Dumbass. Your baby gonna come out with.
Not a tear came down, miss. Not a tear came down.
I have a full background.
I wish I can would. The thing about that is it's pretty clear. Several things are clear there. One, Barrington, the young man had used his credit card to rent the bike.
Yeah.
She knew that he had rented that bike, and then this idea that she could do what she did, and then as they pointed out, and then she basically admitted fake tears.
Yeah.
When the guy came, when the other guy came, it was fake tears.
The thing that makes me so angry about stuff like this is that she'll mess around and get one of our children or one of us killed off of this garbage.
Yeah,
because
that's the problem with a lot of people have with that.
Yeah, because I'm glad that no cops rolled up, because they would have been kicking people around and asking questions later.
Mm-hmm.
They probably would have taken her side, the poor innocent white woman. They got to defend her chastity and her virtue and all this stuff. And it's
see, so when they pull something like that, and this is a case where she needs to, and they mentioned this on social media, and I think somebody did find her social media page. She didn't shut it down. It was said that she shut it down, but they were able to find her identity, where she works as well. Action like that, when you do something like that, then you deserve to be exposed.
Yeah.
And whatever her employer believes is the right punishment for that, and a lot of people have, lost their jobs behind it, then that's the consequences.
Yep, most definitely. They won't stop until there are severe consequences. You call the cops off of some fake foolishness, you need to get arrested, you need to be charged, because I'm always worried about what's going to happen. I mean, we live in such a precarious time. The young man on the train in New York City, he didn't fight anybody, he didn't hit anybody. He was just shouting that he was hungry and wanted something to eat, and they killed him. And Ron DeSantis is running around lifting up the murderer as some type of savior.
Texas governor wants to pardon this young man
that killed
another guy during a Black Lives Matter rally.
Yeah, but you know that the dude that killed the young man in New York, they've already raised like $2 million.
Yeah, a GoFundMe account, and folks are pouring money into that. I talked about that yesterday.
Yeah.
The things that I won't say we, but things that certain individuals decide to pour their money into. These are individuals who talk about how something needs to be done about the homeless or the hungry or this, and this is what you pour your money into.
Yeah, but I mean, we're living in the heart of hypocrisy, because if you're someone who's trying to put a homeless shelter or a home for returning citizens in just about any community, they're going to be like, no, don't bring it here. You can put it where you want, but don't bring it here. And what I think is most concerning to me is just how cruel people are. And it's not all people, but you're seeing so many examples of the cruelty, the inhumanity in the way that these folks are dealing with things. Because I mean, I'm looking at the end of Title 42.
Yes. And
the rhetoric and actions by Republicans primarily. The hordes of brown masses coming to invade America. That's the type of rhetoric that they're using. So we got everything, all of this is in context. Anybody who wondered about what it'd be like to be in the midst of the civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s, we're right in the middle of it now, because the white backlash is just so huge that we have the Supreme Court's involved. We have governors and legislators, primarily Republican. And then we have weak opposition. The Democrats ain't doing anything for the most part. They talk a great game. I mean, something as simple as, and I'm bouncing around because there's so many different things that are an issue. This administration saw what the Senate did in terms of stealing 2 Supreme Court seats. And yet they're saying that they don't want to expand the courts, because if we expand the courts, Republicans can do it later. Who cares? Because there's a piece that I read over the weekend that said that if things stay the way they are, the far right wing of the Supreme Court will be in control till 2065.
Well,
Is that acceptable?
hold that thought, because that's what we're going to talk about right now, and that's what Symone Sanders has sounded the alarm about. And she says about a raft of upcoming decisions that could let the conservative-dominated far-right court make Black history illegal, allow businesses to discriminate. On her Symone show on MSNBC, she's a former senior Biden White House advisor. She argued that the Supreme Court's 5-4 decision on Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization effectively overturning Roe v. Wade is any indication the upcoming term presents the danger of a continued assault on our fundamental rights and freedoms. As you remember, you go back to last summer, even the justices themselves, Clarence Thomas, weighed in on other rights. Clarence Thomas, only thing he stopped short on, but he actually voiced it, was interracial marriage.
Yeah.
And why did he stop short? Because his wife happens to be white.
The thing that Symone is correct. You are correct. They're going to be considering affirmative action. They just said that they were going to hear a case on North Carolina's extreme gerrymandering. I think I heard that there are people who are of the Ron DeSantis ilk who want to erase Black history and who are presenting cases in certain courts with the hope that it will reach the Supreme Court. As far as I'm concerned, all of these institutions that they claim that we're supposed to have respect for need to be destroyed. The Supreme Court does not serve Black people. It probably never served Black people.
But this is your point, Barrington. You're making a strong case for what you said about the administration when they had control of the Senate and the House and the opportunity to say, okay, we're going to expand the court.
Yeah.
Instead of kicking it down the road or looking at it down the road, saying, well, if the Republicans, which is probably true, when Republicans regain, or at some point when they have control, they probably will expand again. But then you avoid things, like the peril that everything is in right now, yeah. Right? And you just wait and see what later courts will do. But for instance, Symone brings up the court will weigh in on 2 cases brought by the organization Students for Fair Admissions. She says, in these cases may seem like the Supreme Court justices will only decide if race should be a factor in college admissions, but this court has a habit of overreaching. So these 2 cases could actually upend affirmative action across the board. If the Supreme Court decides that race-conscious decision-making and policies are unconstitutional, then everything from special government contracts and programs for minority-owned businesses to targeted corporate recruitment at HBCUs would all be in jeopardy. Medical institutions, they would need to figure out how to recruit a diverse workforce without incurring liability.
Yeah. These guys are really smart, wickedly smart, because what they're doing is putting in place. They are introducing so much uncertainty and chaos that most people are going to err on the side of not doing anything to ensure that they don't end up being entangled in lawsuits or that type of thing. And the beneficiaries of this in the most negative ways are going to be us.
Mm-hmm. And
I thought about something, Stacey.
Mm-hmm.
Given what the Supreme Court has done with overturning Roe v. Wade, I would not be surprised at all if they begin to target women as well, in the same way that they target men. Not men, target Black people. Because there is this misogyny
mm-hmm.
in everything that they're doing that blows my mind, particularly for how many women still support the what used to be the Republican Party in their efforts to reverse everything back to the 16th century. So
Yeah, well, and this is what Symone is saying. These rulings, if you pay attention, and Symone said that, for instance, you go back to essentially a locally owned restaurant could put restrictions on who
Yeah.
they allow inside. Basically, black water fountain, white water fountain.
Yeah.
All of that is on the table.
Yeah.
And this is a real thing to watch, because we know where they are, and here's David Youngblood says they are cementing in place their historical privilege because the writing is on the wall. All is fair until the rabbit has the gun. Symone really broke it down. I don't know how many got a chance to watch her on that particular segment, but she really broke it down. And you talk about someone from the administration who really knows and understands what's going on there.
Yeah.
So she's.
I wish that the opposition, all of the opposition to this right-wing fascist move, were braver. There's too much
More brave.
Huh?
Is it more brave or braver?
Braver.
More brave.
Both. I think both are white. I wish they were more brave. I wish they were braver. But particularly because what we heard from President Biden at Howard University's convocation, it should be repeated every day in as many different platforms, in as many different places and stages as possible, because it's real. And we living in a time where people have always felt this way. If you don't say it, it doesn't exist. If you don't say it, it will go away. This boogeyman's not going away because you have people, and it's so insidious, Stacy, because while we sleep, white nationalists are continuing to fearmonger. Everything that they're doing is about white people losing their power in this country, white people losing their position of privilege and all their perks, and that type of thing. These folks are not interested in doing anything that's going to upset the status quo. And that's what this is about. And we say it and we say it. It's about the browning of America.
Yeah,
they're losing their control in terms of numbers. They're going to potentially lose their power. And so it's this mad rush to try to revert to the past. Yeah. And I would take the host job and say that what we're seeing with the new Chicago mayor, if you look at the way that the idiot media is positioning it, they're basically already saying that he's a progressive, and so he's gonna fail.
Yeah, and as we go into that, I just wanted to highlight the Black Messiah has weighed in, saying misogyny is when a man doesn't want women to exist or be treated like a human being. But the Chicago mayor, the New Yorker, has called him the city's unlikely mayor, in part because of the big role the city will play in the 2024 election. And as you just stated, a progressive. Yeah. Brandon Johnson's inauguration ceremony, you see there, was packed with people like Jesse Jackson. The governor was there, J.B. Pritzker, Attorney General Kwame Raoul, Secretary of State Alexi Giannalis was there as well, and others, Senators Dick Durbin, Tammy Duckworth also was there. And there you see the former mayor, the outgoing mayor, Lori Lightfoot, who said that she was there to show what a peaceful transfer of power should look like.
Yeah. He's gonna have a hard job, but I don't think it's gonna be any harder than any other mayor in a city in this country. What I'm going to be looking for are the forces behind the veil. that are going to be pouring money into the city into programs that oppose him and what he's doing. People are going to be working to try to destroy his efforts to bring equity to the city, because Chicago is one of the most segregated cities in the country.
I love to see, and you see it in this clip, I love to see when people sign. I love to see that, especially when you have the applause going and you have, I love it. I wish I knew sign language. I know I have a chance. I continue to have an opportunity to learn it, but I just don't take the time.
Yeah.
But he's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
But he's signing. Look, I mean, he's so excited too.
Yeah.
It just, I love to see it. Love to see it.
I want this mayor to succeed.
Yeah, Chicago has, we often see highlighted in the news media how the problems of Chicago, violence in Chicago, this, anything negative, but there's so many great things about Chicago. Yeah.
But you see, Chicago's become the beating stick for the Republican Party. Every time that they want to talk about a black-led city, blacks can't lead. Democratic city, Democrats are the worst things for cities. But it's interesting because I saw a piece last week, and I forget who it was, but they basically did like the 10 or 15 cities in this country with the worst crime, with the most welfare, with the worst education, and all of them, well, not all of them, but the vast majority of the cities with all of these negative social indicators are in Republican states. But yet, Democrats allow Republicans to steer the narrative to make it seem as if Democratic cities are the ones with the most problems, which is garbage. Jim Jordan went to New York to try to beat up on Alvin Bragg talking about the crime in New York, when the crime in Columbus, Ohio is 10 times worse than it is now in New York.
Yeah. The Black Messiah says he lived in San Francisco. Black Messiah lives in San Francisco, and the brown people will replace and start treating black people worse than whites do. Brown people have more rights than blacks. They don't need your sympathy. He says, I can't find a black PCP or a black dentist, etc. Do you think the brown people want to help me replace them? I can't tell you a whole lot about San Francisco. I do know that recently my wife and her girlfriend visited San Francisco. They absolutely loved it. But I don't know a whole lot about it other than the fact that, that's Kamala Harris's stomping grounds. Willie Brown was the commander in chief there for a while, and people love Mayor Brown.
It's complicated. The relationship between brown and black people is complicated, but based on my experience and the circles that I move in, there is more amiability, more coalition, more work being done between black and brown people than in some places. I do acknowledge, like in LA, there is a lot of animosity between Latinos and black people.
Oh yes,
yes. That sort of thing. But we just got to keep on working. I have sympathy for any human being who is put in the type of situations that we're seeing in this country. And I mean, we often forget that white people, poor white people, working class white people, some middle class white people are dealing with situations as tough or tougher than what we're dealing with. And if we were ever able to get beyond the divisions, the man-made divisions, and coalesce around the issues that we have, that is what Republicans are working so hard to do, They're making sure that they have large wedges between white working class and black working class. Because anytime that those two groups come together, the elite is done. The rich people are done.
Black Messiah says there are 5% blacks in San Francisco and about 40% in Oakland. Use your imagination. I do know that we have a fabulous black newspaper in San Francisco, an NNPA member paper there that is absolutely a pillar in San Francisco. David Youngblood says something that I always find very, very interesting, because I say pretty much the same thing when we talk about Chicago and the issues of black on black crime and things of that nature. He says no one ever points out white on white crime in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. It's unfortunate. It's the truth, though. Naturally, you're going to have black on black crime. Naturally, you're going to have white on white crime. Naturally, you're going to have Latino on Latino crime. You live amongst these people.
Yeah.
and you're going to have criminals or those of a nefarious mind living near you.
Yeah.
Right. So when they start talking about black on black, white on, to me, it's just ridiculous. They don't talk about white on white, though.
But if you look at the FBI statistics, the numbers are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers of white people killing white people, and black people killing white people, Latinos killing Latinos. So all we're seeing is a continued weaponization of data and statistics and information by these white nationalists who seek to use that to everything's about fear, man. Everything's about fear mongering. We don't want no black people living near us. And it's interesting because there are very few black people that I know that want to be living around them.
Yeah.
No one's running to try to live around them. You want to live in a quality neighborhood. You want to have access to a school with a good education.
Quality healthcare.
A good job.
Yeah.
There's nothing that
we want to live in a food desert.
Yeah. There's nothing that we want that other people don't want. We want our children to go to school. We want our children to be successful.
Yep, exactly.
But their job is to make us seem like we're animals.
Yeah.
Like we're savages and that type of thing. And that's a thing that we always got to fight it, unfortunately, because that's our reality and it's getting worse.
Yeah. David says you kill who you know, who you look like, and who you live around. Black Messiah was born in Milwaukee, raised in Seattle, and now lives in San Francisco. These type of topics, they bring out, everyone's thoughts. They bring out their opinions, their feelings, and what they see and experience in their lives. And we appreciate the comments. Barrington, it's time to lighten the mood. it's time to have a little fun.
I can see right where you're going. Bring it out. Bring it out.
So I'm going to throw some names out to you, Barrington.
Okay.
Heathcliff Huxtable, Philip Banks, James Evans, Carl Winslow, Bernie Mac, Fred Sanford, George Jefferson, all iconic television dads, just as in real life, TV fathers. They're not perfect, but however, we are grateful for the greats. And it's through them that we are provided proof that fathers in general, black fathers in general, run the gamut from hilarious to human. They give us hope and understanding, discipline and discernment. But many have lined up to answer such questions, Barrington, as which one you feared bringing home a bad report card to? Which one, Barrington?
I would have been afraid to bring my report card home to James Evans.
Absolutely.
he would have broken me in two if I had bad grades.
Oh my gosh. That, when we saw Good Times, and one of the complaints about Good Times was like they could never get out of the ghetto, et cetera. But that, that's in some cases it's real life, right? In a lot of cases it's real life. Mm-hmm. But those first two seasons with John Amos, because he left after the second season, or the third, whichever one it was. I think it was two, but nonetheless, you saw a strong. They didn't have any money. They didn't have much. But you saw a strong black father, didn't you?
Strong black father, principled man, cared about his family, worked way too hard, got paid way too little, but was able to keep his family together. I mean, to me, that's the epitome of what we as dads are charged to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So which one of these fathers you think you can get over on?
None of them. None of them.
None of them.
None of them. Because
What about Winslow? I think maybe Carl Winslow.
no. Listen, he might have worn a suit, shirt and tie, but he was savvy, and he was street savvy as well. So no, I don't think you could get much over on him. And then look at his size. That would be my deterrent right there. I'd be like, nah, I'm trying to mess with this dude because he might be mean too.
And
they were all smart. I mean, even George Jefferson, he was smart. He was aware. They couldn't pull anything over on him. So I don't know that you could pull anything over on any of them.
I don't know, George, who's the weakest link there? Let's run the names down one more time. Cliff Huxtable, Philip Banks, James Evans, Carl Winslow. We know James wasn't the weakest link. Carl Winslow, Bernie Mac, Fred Sanford, George Jefferson. Who's the weakest link?
Whoever this dude
Power
is.
96 says that he can get over on Cliff. You might, right? Because Claire was there to back him up. Though.
That's it. You could get over on Cliff, but Claire would be there to beat you back into your place.
And I don't know that you can get over on Uncle Phil. You think you get over? Yeah, maybe a little bit. No,
maybe a little bit, but I think Uncle Phil would make you just kind of. He would allow the string to go out for a while and then yank you back when you thought that you had gotten away with something. Yeah. So
I remember the one episode where he got so mad at Will and Carlton, and he really got stern, and he says, "You better come back here with whatever it was." He says, "Otherwise," he says, "they will never find your body. I'm a judge. I can make it happen."
Yeah. Yep.
That was one of his best lines.
Yeah.
He said, "I'm a judge. I can make it happen." And think about that too. These fathers, right? So of course, Huxtable was a doctor. Philip Banks was a judge. James Evans was a blue collar guy. Winslow was a cop. Bernie Mac, of course, he played himself. Basically, he's a comedian.
And Fred Sanford was
he's a business owner. He owned, junkyard, right? And George Jefferson, of course, was a business owner. He owned a dry cleaning business.
Yeah.
In their own way, although, we talked about James Evans and his family not having money. The Sanfords didn't really have money, but in their own way, they were very well off.
Of course. Because one of the things that I hope people are learning, money doesn't bring happiness.
Yep.
Money doesn't make you happy. And I mean, I always think about the fact that, people who have lots of money have a whole lot more problems than they probably anticipated. And the thing for me is that post-COVID, a lot of folks are reassessing what makes you happy, what types of things, people you need in your life to be comfortable. And money is important. It's a means to an end, but it's not everything.
Yeah.
And I think if this country as a whole found some way to move away from always making money the core of everything that they do, we'd be a whole lot better for it.
Yeah. And so Barrington, you have a child, you have a son, a very successful son.
Yes, I have sons.
Yeah. Which TV dad would they say you are more like?
Probably John Amos.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't play around. But it's interesting because now, when they were younger, I had to be stern and threaten to kick them around in order for them to do what they needed to do that they thought they didn't need to do. Now we're friends.
Yeah.
So it's different. It's different. My father was tough and raised us hard.
So your father was like John Amos as well.
Yeah. And as unfortunate as it is, when you're young, you're like, I'm never going to be like that. And then as you get older, you're like, oh my God, I've become my father. Oh man. So yeah.
Wow. And so that photo right there, that picture right there, illustration gives us even more of these the various Black TV dads that we've seen over the course of decades. Power 96 says nowadays we are stuck with fake reality TV shows.
Yeah.
That's another part of this.
That's not true, because here's the thing. I'm always looking at the way that people go crazy about Mother's Day and Mother's Day and Mother's Day and Mother's Day, and Father's Day is barely a blip. And the narrative that these people and this society has continued to throw out is that Black men don't take care of their children, which is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
That Black men abandon their families, which is a lie. And so I am really glad when I see interviews and programs and documentaries that put the lie to bed, where they focus on Black men who are single dads, Black men who are taking care of their children under crazy circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the land where we have no racism, the wage gap is like 100. I think they said white families on average have $156,000. Black people are like 28,
mm-hmm.
30. But there's no racism. There's no systemic institutional racism. It's just Black people lazy. If we were enslaved, everything would be cool. But we lazy. So we constantly have to fight against this narrative. We as creatives, as writers, have to continue to do the positive stories that show the truth of who we are as Black men and women and Black families.
Yeah, earlier this week we had Juanita, was it this week or last week? Juanita Banks Winnington and her new book, I Love My Daddy, on the cover. It's a dad and daughter. And the book talks about this special relationship between a Black father and his Black daughter.
Yeah.
And we've written about it. It's actually in many of our newspapers this week. But in it, we write too how this is more to dispel that myth, like you said, that Black dads are absent or non-existent. Yeah.
It's a hard job, but we got to do it, and we are doing it. And in this time and space, if they don't see it, they think it doesn't happen. And so we have got to do everything we can to put it out there, even though it's not necessarily us trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced about our value and who we are as people, as human beings, as family members and stuff. But it's still important for us to put in that work to show the beauty and the positivity of who we are as Black people.
Yeah. I think my kids probably, and mostly girls, they probably see me more. I don't know.
Huxtable.
No. I think more Bernie Mac than Huxtable.
Really?
Yeah. Because they know how to get over. You remember Vanessa? She knew how to get over on Bernie Mac, but then she gets caught. They're like that. So they know how to get over, but they don't take advantage of it, though.
Yeah.
They don't always take advantage. Put it that way.
They don't always
take advantage.
I'm not gonna rough up Dad too much.
Right.
They do a little bit.
They show some mercy, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But I think that probably, I think that's what they would, out of that group that we mentioned.
You should ask them.
Yeah, I'm going to ask them.
You should ask them.
They probably would pick Bernie Mac. I have a son, Jordan, so they say I do remind them in that sense when I used to yell at Jordan all the time.
Yeah. So what, you don't yell at them?
I don't really yell at the girls.
Why?
Well, because they don't do much to get yelled at.
Oh, please.
No, I'm serious. Listen, people won't believe it, but I got some really, really good children.
That's good though, because if all of them were driving you crazy, you would have no hair.
No,
it wouldn't be gray hair, it'd be no hair.
So here's
like me,
like you. Here's the part that drives me crazy: the fact that they all are good-looking females.
So what's wrong with that?
It's just
You have your shotgun sharpened and ready, right?
I got everything sharp. The blade sharpened. I got 2 bats.
Yeah.
1 for each hand.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
But they're good. They're really good children.
But that's a credit to you and the First Lady.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Especially her, right?
Yeah. No, it's funny because with my when I tell people that I credit my son's mother with being the majority, offering the majority, because she lived with him day to day. She was dealing with all of this. I had him for the holidays, all the holidays. And so I would be dishonest if I tried to pretend that all of what he is because of me. Yeah. She had a great role in that. So even though we may not get along, you can't be pretending that she didn't make a significant contribution. So that's the way. Yeah.
So we got a couple minutes left with all of these TV dads, Barrington. Yeah. So you already said who you closely with, but who has is there one of them? Let me ask it this way: is there one of them that has all the qualities that we'd like to see in a dad?
No. No, because here's the thing. I think of it in the same way that when you are looking for a woman, you're never going to find everything you want in one woman. You will find most of it if you're lucky. But I don't think you're going to find everything. And really? Each of them bring different things. It's really interesting because as I've been thinking about this, I think the one that made the most of an impression on me was Cliff Huxtable. And I have to decipher why that is. Mm-hmm. But also Anthony Anderson's character as well, very more real.
Anthony Anderson. Actually, my wife and I just met him yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the picture. I was like, Stacey Hobby with the high and mighty. But when I think about his character, yeah.
Wow. So So Cliff Huxtable. Well, he said Angela Connolly has a question. What you mean a woman can't be a man's everything? No. I knew he was gonna get in trouble.
No, it's not trouble. I think we make the mistake by thinking that if we have a lover or a wife or whatever, that she is everything. In my experience, you're never gonna meet, and this applies to men as well. It's not just for women. You're never gonna meet anybody that caters to your every need, that covers all of the bases. No, that's a reason why you have friends.
See,
larger circle.
Yeah, I don't. I get it, but I don't. I'm with Angela on that. I don't really agree with that one.
But that's fine. I'm not asking you. That's just my opinion. I'm not asking you.
No, I know. So, I get that
because and here's the reality. Here's the reality.
Grace says I'm wrong as usual. No, I can't be wrong.
Mimi is everything that I need.
Right. Okay.
Right. But if you're thinking about someone in the entirety, mm-hmm. I don't think anybody brings everything that you need into any relationship.
I beg to differ. I think I get everything I need.
Well, good.
You gotta start a war in the Connolly household. Angela says,
No. I'm not going to start a war. I'm just realistic.
Let me go in capital letters. Let me go ask my husband.
That's what you said.
That's what she's writing in capital letters.
Her husband's going to be in trouble if he gives the wrong answer.
He better get. Listen, I hope he got an inkling of what we were talking about.
Stacey, he's going to be like that damn Barrington.
Listen, how many times have we heard that?
Right. That's and in actuality, I don't expect any relationship to give me everything that I need.
Okay.
So
yeah. Well, wow. How did we get here? We're talking about Black TV dads.
But that's a great thing about our conversations. We never know where we're gonna we know where we're gonna stop, but we never know where we're gonna end up.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially when Barrington's on the other side of the glass. I love it. Absolutely. Barrington,
Who was the young lady that just told you that she doesn't agree? What was her name?
that was Angela Connolly. She's writing in that that's the one that says, let me go ask my husband. And she put that in capital letters.
Angela, please let us know what the results were. If he's still alive when you're done.
Is he still breathing? Does he have a pulse?
Still breathing. Does he still have a home? Because if he said the wrong thing, she might invite him to leave.
He said, okay, here's our answer. She says, in capital letters, I'm his everything, but now he's going to do yard work.
Oh, Lord.
He must not have said everything. She must have got him this to finally agree.
Yeah. So his punishment is yard work.
Yard work. Oh, boy. Yeah. Angela, it's all Barrington's fault.
I take full responsibility. It's all my fault. Hey, Stacey, it's always my fault.
Hey, it keeps us alive.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Thanks, Barrington, as always. Thank you all for watching. Let it be known. Subscribe.
Please subscribe
to our YouTube page. Greer says, she said, I am your everything, right?
Right? Yeah. Yes, baby. Yes.
baby, please.
Baby, please don't let me do no yard work.
Terrible we are. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.